These things, just reminders. General form of quadratic, right? From Friday. And then remember how to factor. Quadratics. With a equal to 1, correct? The whole point of this being, can you solve these equations? Whoa. For the values of x. That's probably the biggest thing you can take out of PreCalculus is how to solve equations. Okay, so that's why we spend a lot of time on it. So what are the factors of that equation right there?
6 and 1.
6 and 1 or 5, 2 and 3?
6.
6 and 1 adds up to 7. Thank you. That's 1. What are the solutions to this? 3 and 2, right? Okay, so obviously this method will not work with a not equal to 1. Okay, you can't just multiply and add. So we have to do, there are a couple options. If you come up with some equations, I always have to look through that. I don't want to look them up on the fly.
I should have
Is that a 2? Yes.
Is that going to work? No, that's not going to work. I think it'll work now. So, how do you factor that? There's 3 different methods that I know. There might be more. Okay, number 1 is brute force. Right? Just guess and check, basically, is what it is, right? So you can guess and check by brute force. So, what do our first term has to be 2x squared, right? So we would have 2x and x. Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty sure this is not factorable.
No.
Now that I look at it, it's fantastic.
What a champ.
You're 10 and 25.
This is why I don't make these up on the fly, because I always make a mistake. Is that going to work?
I don't know. Well, yeah, now I'm unsure.
Okay, so brute force, we know that has to be true, right? Okay, we still have to have the multiples of 9. So what are a couple of...
3 times 9.
Okay, so let's try 3 and 3.
It doesn't add up.
Try 6.
See, this is where you can't trust that. Okay, so this, for this, we have to add and multiply, right?
Yeah.
You can't trust that here. When A is not 1, those do not add up to the middle. And that's my point in showing you that. Okay. Because when we FOIL 2x, the outsides are going to make 6. And what do the insides make? 9.
Oh.
Okay, so when you FOIL, okay, the outers make 6x, correct? And the inners make 3x. that gives us our middle term. Okay? So that's why guessing and checking here is, it's just brute force. You're gonna have to try a few different things sometimes, okay? So no longer can we trust multiplies as, right?
It's called toil.
When you multiply these together,
2x and or 3.
okay, so first times first is what? 2x squared, right? Outers and inners. Okay, and then the last 3 times 3 is 9. So you end up with 2x squared plus 9x plus 9.
Okay, I see.
Now you get it?
Yeah.
So you have to combine those like terms. So avoid, when you see a is not equal to 1, you can't trust the easier algorithm. Okay, you have to do something different. So guessing and checking is perfectly okay, but it gets really intense when this is not a prime number. Okay, if that's a prime number, you know that 2 pretty easily, right? If it's 7, it's 7 and 1. But if this is like 4, it could be 4 and 1, or it could be 2 and 2, right? So you have 2 different possibilities, and then you start these possibilities, things start to get out of control pretty quick. So that's why we have other methods. Okay? Somebody knows this.
Yes.
Factor it down after simplifying. Divide by 2.
All right, so some of you know this, so teach us, oh great ones. Okay, so the 2 slips over here.
Oh, yes.
Ah, somebody had just had a revelation.
Yeah. Did you know you replaced the B? See, mine didn't we?
Oh, where are we, Jamaica? Okay. Now what? Jerry, next step, since you seem to know it already.
I have no idea.
Okay, then you might want to pay attention. Just a suggestion. Okay, factor? Okay. Okay, factor that. See, now a is 1, it makes it easy. So we're kind of forcing it into a equals 1, then we'll change it back later. 63. Is that right?
Can you do that for all of them? Just factors and multiply the exponent over?
Yeah.
Make it 1. Or whatever.
Multiply the exponent over?
Not the exponent, what's it called?
Oh, a?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a legitimate method for any of these that are not equal to 1. Now we have to transfer it back.
Okay, so then,
Where I get it.
What's the slide part?
You have to do
Is that divisible by 2?
yeah.
Okay, so does that mean that I put a 2 here?
No.
Or here?
There.
Where are you at?
Sure? Okay, this is where people get confused. Hey, calm down, please.
Math is
Okay.
just too exciting.
Is this divisible by 2?
Yes.
Do we leave it alone?
Yes.
Divide by 2?
Why?
Where does this multiple of 2 go? And this one doesn't matter.
Because there's 2 squared.
Where does the 2 go? We have to have a 2x here somewhere.
Yeah.
Here?
Yes.
Oh, so you like move it or like?
Yeah, you slide it back. So this is your slide step. Okay, I'm leaving you hanging here. One of these you have to divide by 2. It's got to be a whole number. This you can't divide to make a whole number, right? That's where the 2 goes.
Is it?
That you can divide by 2. You have to do that.
We have to divide by that whole number.
Yeah. So whatever you slip is what you slide. Okay. Those factors work, right? You want another slip and slide? You guys. I think you're gonna have to go find some problems.
Please do.
Could somebody make one up real quick?
No.
There's a prize. I'll give you a prize if you make one up.
That prize better be like the power.
This is me not being prepared. I apologize.
He's staying and jumping on his head. Do this. Yeah, that's what happened.
Okay, so let's use a couple of these. Now we're good. Now we're good. Factor. Focus. Factor. Okay. Do you want to use slip and slide?
I'm serious.
Okay, so when we slip, 3, we get, correct? Factor? Still too much conversations on the side.
Positive 5.
No, negative 3 plus 5. 3 and 5.
Positive 3, negative 5 is what I heard the most of, so that's what we're going to go with. Since mathematical truth is democratic, right? Not. Okay. Yeah, now you gotta divide by 3.
So it'll be, do we divide by 3 by 3? Yeah.
This one is divisible by 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna end up with p plus 1 and 3p minus 5. So each part of that gets manipulated. Now, you can check that
I trust it.
to make sure it works. And it gets back to the original. Right? 3p squared minus 5p plus 3p minus 5. Does that work? You betcha.
Oh, yep.
A little bit more clear now?
Dude, I want
Christian, if those end up on the floor, I'm gonna hunt you down.
Yeah, I told you. No.
Any questions? Okay, some people find it, I find this to be the easiest method. No, that does not apply here. Some people prefer Punnett square factoring.
Why does synthetic division not work?
Because we are not, you don't know one of the zeros. Okay. With this method, Mr. Bradley.
Yeah.
Those two numbers, so the A and the A term and the C term, go in those respective locations. So you just place them accordingly. And then what you're looking for is these two need to add up to negative 2p. Okay, so we're trying to find these two terms, which are the factored form terms. Right there. This is just a technique to help you find those. Okay. So what does 3p squared have to be? Has to be a 3p and a p, right? Okay, so we'll put those outside there.
I know it's just
Negative 5. What are the factors of negative 5?
Negative 5 and 1.
And?
5 and negative 1.
Right? So put these outside in any respective location. And then we will see if this works. So what is 3p times 1?
3p.
Okay, and what's p times negative 5? Do those add up to negative 2?
Oh, wow, it does.
Absolutely.
We picked the right ones.
I did what?
Okay, so we picked the right ones, put here and here, right? Because these add up to negative 2. So you are factored now. Here's one. And here's the other.
What? That is pretty cool. Do you understand it?
I find slip and slide easier, but that works. It's kind of an organizational way to do brute force guess and check, right?
I prefer the slip and slide.
I would stay here. It's easier. That's an option. Okay. I want to keep things from you. Questions?
Yeah, is there any conditions where
What, factoring will not work?
where the punishment?
No, if you can factor the equation, it will work.
So is that just a check?
No, they're separate methods.
Oh, okay.
You can use one or the other, it doesn't matter. Hey, there's still way too much talking going on here. I predict failure. Any questions? So pick your method, guess and check, slip and slide, or the Punnett square. Doesn't matter to me. I will not require you to do either one or all of them. Okay. one of the biggest skills in solving equations that we use in calculus is factoring. That's why we spend 2 days on it. Okay? Not so we can have side conversations, but so we can get it down. Cool. So that worksheet is due tomorrow. Okay, factoring quadratic expression. Did I give you paper copies?
Yeah.
Okay, and then 4.2 is still due Thursday. No, Thursday. Specific in our language. Don't confuse your classmates anymore. I already. Okay. You have 20 minutes. Best to use that time wisely instead of chit-chatting.